Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Para Destination Experience Former Mart 2023 under the theme Sustainability in Action. We have a fantastic program over the next 2 days. But before we begin, let me just first introduce myself. My name is Paul Brungan. I am the Chief of Staff at the Pacific Asia Travel Association, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies over the next 2 days. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the cultural show. Big round of applause for our cultural performance. That was called Sarawak Harmony. Thank you so much. Fantastic. So, now we've kicked off the conference with our cultural show, and now let's get to our first welcome remarks of today. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the chair of the Pacific Asia Travel Association. A big round of applause for Mr. Peter Simone.
Good morning. Datuk Haji Abdul Karim Rahman Hamza, Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Youth and Sports of Sarawak, Datuk Sebastian Ting Chiao Yo, Deputy Minister of Tourism, Sarawak. Datu Sarina Binti Husaini, Permanent Secretary, Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts, Sarawak. And my dear friend, Shahzada Datu Haji Salah Asgwar. I'm really delighted to be here this morning in beautiful Borneo and beautiful Sarawak. I looked out the window this morning. I hadn't been here in 15 years, the minister was asking, and so he said, when was the last time you were here? And I said, 15 years ago. And he said, you probably don't recognize the place. And I have to say, this morning I looked out of my hotel room and I could see the Majestic Hotel, which I remember. I think that was maybe the only hotel along the river. There's a lot more buildings now. So very, very impressive to see how Destination Sarawak has developed. And the minister was also telling me that Miri is like a beautiful, wonderful beach resort that I must see one of these days. I'm really delighted to be here for the PATA conference, this event, and also for the event that will happen later on, the Rainforest concert. I'm really looking forward to that. I hear that it's an amazing event. I wanted to mention that Sarawak has been a member of PATA since 1981, which is actually quite remarkable. And through those years, we've had a fantastic friendship, partnership, and it's really culminated in this particular event today. We've also been working closely with Sarawak to look at sustainable tourism, ecotourism solutions, which obviously is one of the reasons that we're here today, is to speak about the topic. As the chair of the Pacific Asia Travel Association, I would like to take the opportunity to thank the Ministry of Culture, Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts of Sarawak, the Sarawak Tourism Board, and the Sarawak Convention Bureau for their gracious hospitality and support for this event. I would also like to thank sincerely our various sponsors and supporters without whose assistance this event, of course, would not be possible. And I'd also like to thank the PATA staff and everybody that's worked hard to make this event a reality today. Today's PATA Destination Experience Forum and Mart 2023 under the theme Sustainability in Action is extremely relevant as the industry begins the road to recovery. Ladies and gentlemen, climate change, over-tourism, and many other things are existential threats to tourism and hospitality in the Asia-Pacific region. And coming out of COVID, we basically have two options. And we need to think very carefully about what those are, because the further COVID is in the rearview mirror, the easier it is to forget what actually happened to our industry and to our region. I think we have two options. And many of you might know me, I like to be a straight shooter. I always wanted to be a politician, but I never succeeded as a politician, and maybe it's because I'm too much of a straight shooter. So, option number one is that we can bury our heads in the sand, return to the boom times that culminated in record arrivals across the globe in 2019 BC, before COVID. We could ignore the environmental and social consequences of mass tourism and bolster our balance sheets in a business-as-usual manner. And unfortunately, I've been traveling around the region since I finished my assignment in Timor-Leste. I was based in Timor-Leste for 5 years. And I have done some traveling around, and I would actually venture to guess that many of us have chosen the business-as-usual, let's get on with it, let's bolster our balance sheets. The other option that we have is that we can seize this opportunity that came to us through COVID, and we can start to recalibrate how we actually measure our success and how we account for the invisible burden of tourism. Because a lot of times we go through governments, private sector, we go through and we say and we pat each other on the back and say how great our industry is, how we've grown tourism arrivals and grown revenues, but we never really think of the cost of doing business. And that's something I think that when we think about recalibrating, we need to think about these particular things. So in my humble opinion, I believe it is time to rethink tourism. And incidentally, since I left Timor-Leste in April, I've been invited all over the place to talk about rethinking tourism. So it seems like we want to do a lot of talking about rethinking tourism, but are we actually going to do something about it? So here's some things. To rethink tourism, we have to rethink how we measure its success. Arrivals, per diem expenditure, length of stay, that's really 1960s calculations. We're not going to, it's not going to actually give us any substantive indication of our success. We also have to think about how do we tax tourism for the use of the destination's commons. And this is a legal term, but the commons is the public area, the public good. How are we taxing when visitors come and use our commons? And the other thing is, how do we expect actors across the supply and demand value chains to engage in tourism activities responsibly and sustainably? I made a comment last week. I was at a UNWTO meeting, and I said, we always worry about the supply side, but what about the behavior of the tourists? Do we not have to make sure that the tourists are behaving in a way that's appropriate for our destinations? And finally, how can we assure this one fundamental thing that we all say about tourism, and it's a famous saying, a nice place to live is a nice place to visit. How do we actually ensure that that's true going forward in the future, and that tourism continues to be an asset rather than to be a burden on local communities and the way that local people live? So it is also important to remember for us, it is also important for us to remember that without peace, tourism cannot exist. Mark Twain once wrote, "Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness." As an industry reliant upon peace and a promoter of cross-culturalism, tourism can serve as a panacea for ethnocentrism, social injustice, prejudice, and greed. Tourism may provide the panacea for conflict and continue to be a driver of peace, which in my humble opinion is important in this day and age that we live, 2023, and our immediate future. With this in mind, we have brought together a dynamic range of tourism experts for insightful discussions on key issues in destination management and marketing as we look for new opportunities to promote sustainability within the industry. It is encouraging for all of us at PATA to see the participation of our members and various stakeholders from both the public and private sectors and their commitment to addressing the important issues of sustainability. It is this type of collaboration between the public and private sector that epitomizes the fundamental value of PATA, fundamental nature of PATA's mission in acting as a catalyst for the responsible development of travel and tourism to, from, and within the Asia-Pacific region. Furthermore, these discussions are vital to the sustainability of our industry. PATA is always ready and willing to help our members and all industry stakeholders to promote the responsible development of the travel and tourism industry within their destinations. And it encourages us to work harder for these goals when we see delegates from all over the world coming together for a better, more responsible, and more sustainable industry. Everyone at PATA sincerely believes that the travel industry is a force for good, for economic growth, for job creation, and for cultural empathy and understanding across borders. In this regard, I would like to thank all of you for being a part of this event and enjoying what I hope will be really interesting discussions and honest discussions. I think the time is now for us to be honest with one another. Because if we don't make the right decision now, by 2030, we will pay a much dearer price than what we paid during COVID. That's my opinion. We're on the brink. This is a moment of truth for the travel and tourism industry. It's a moment of truth for Sarawak. It's a moment of truth for Asia Pacific. It's a moment of truth for tourism. So let's rise up and let's answer the call to do things differently, smarter, more sustainably, so that our grandchildren can also enjoy the wonderful pleasures of being a tourist, of working in the tourism industry. So once again, I thank you so much for joining. I think it's going to be a great 2 days. I'm delighted to be here, and I look forward to interacting with all of you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Peter, for setting the stage for today's conference. We'll hear later from Peter today. He'll be sitting down for a fireside chat with Madam Charzadeh regarding one of those topics he mentioned about. So, we've come to our next welcome remarks. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the Minister of Tourism, Arts, Culture, Youth and Sports of Sarawak. Big round of applause to Dr. Haji Abdul Karim Rahman Hamza.
Mr. Peter Simon, the chairman of PATA, welcome to Sarawak after 15 years. Yang berhormat Datuk Sebastian Ting Chiu Yu, Deputy Minister of Tourism. Yang berbahagia Datuk Sharina Husaini, the Permanent Secretary to the Ministry of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Art. Puan Shahzad, Dato' Haji Saleh Asko, the CEO of Sarawak Tourism Board. I wish to welcome also Mr. Harry Huang, the Director, Regional Department for Asia and the Pacific, UNWTO. Mr. Toyib Muhammad, the CEO, Visit Maldives, from Maldives. Mr. Pichaya Saichan, I hope I pronounced that correct, the Director of America's Market Division, Tourism Authority of Thailand, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor to address the opening ceremony of PATA Destination Experience Forum and Mart, theme Sustainability in Action. I'm pleased to welcome all of our distinguished guests, participants, as guests to Sarawak and to this forum, hosted by Sarawak Tourism Board. For those who are here for the first time in this beautiful land of Sarawak, welcome. And also some of you might have been here before, welcome again. Make sure you enjoy your stay down here, enjoy the food, our cuisine, and also spend a little bit of time to visit some of our interesting places. We have got a new product, our Borneo Cultures Museum, which was officiated last year. It's the second largest in Southeast Asia, actually, for a museum. Yeah. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Peter Drucker, the father of management thinking, once said, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." These words provide the inspiration to drive lasting change and to create the sustainable future that we are seeking. And these events allow us the platform to converge and accomplish collective goals in line with our theme this year. Ladies and gentlemen, to ensure sustainable tourism across the globe, government needs to work together to create the future that we want, that we envision. We need to implement comprehensive strategies to promote sustainable tourism development. A broad mix of policies across governments is a key element in supporting a sustainable and competitive tourism economy in the long term. Tourism can be the catalyst for growth for local economy, providing good quality jobs, opportunities for enterprises, and funds for conservation. However, as what has been mentioned by Peter just now, if it's not managed well, tourism can have negative impacts on local communities as well as the environment, creating long-term problems for local residents, which can ultimately lead to the decline of tourism itself in that destination. It is critical for countries to align their tourism strategies to be sustainable in order to increase the benefits and to reduce the negative impacts caused by tourism for destinations. This can be achieved by protecting natural environment, wildlife, and natural resources when developing and managing tourism activities, providing authentic tourist experiences, creating socio-economic benefits for communities through employment and income earning opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, in matters of collaboration and partnerships, more than ever, tourists are leaving the cities and visiting natural destinations like national parks and popular hiking spots. We are proud to say that in Sarawak, in Malaysia, Sarawak has got the most national park and nature park. We have got more than 50 national park and nature park. We're very, very proud of them. We need to recognize that sustainable tourism is key to maintaining the natural beauty of a destination, minimizing litter and waste, protecting cultural and historical sites, and respecting, of course, the local communities. All stakeholders need to be involved to achieve this, including government, local businesses, communities, as well as visitors, through active collaborations. Towards this, the Sustainable Tourism Index assesses countries on their commitment to develop and promote sustainable practices in tourism. On this note, in 2021, Sarawak became the first state in Malaysia to join the Global Destination Sustainable Index for Business Events and Tourism via the GDSI Partnership Program. We ranked number 6 in the Asia-Pacific region in 2021, and we look forward to further working closely with international tourism bodies like PATA and UNWTO to advance the knowledge and practices of responsible tourism for sustainable development in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Distinguished guests, on policy making, humanity has made tremendous progress over the last century, achieving rapid advances in human health, transport, energy, food production, as well as infrastructure. Yet, in our haste to adopt new technologies and have that would have made our life better, we often neglect to think about the consequences on planetary health. The high carbon footprint and resource-intensive economic models are warming the planet, destroying nature, as well as biodiversity. For the last 200 years, industrialization, along with irresponsible travel, general consumerism, and human behavior have led to an increase in greenhouse gases, global warming, melting of polar ice cap, rising sea levels, floods, as well as displacement of millions of people, the destruction of natural habitats, environmental degradation, and the loss of biodiversity are among the negative impacts of tourism. Understanding and addressing this call for massive collaboration across disciplinary and borders to safeguard planetary health. As stakeholders of the tourism industry, we gather here to reflect on sustainability. The good news is new tourism trend has emerged due to shift in customers' behavior. This includes general development in hospitality in response to pandemic, increased demand for healthy and organic food and drinks, personalized services, digitalization, as well as technology, and most relevant to this forum, embracing sustainability. We are starting to witness acceleration of the current trend in the direction of sustainable tourism in both developed and developing countries. In all sectors of tourism, from transport to water and energy consumption, protection of natural resources, job creation, and poverty eradication. In many countries, tourism is also becoming a driving force for social inclusion, benefiting both the youth, women, small and medium-sized enterprises, local communities, and the rural populations. In this sense, tourism is generating significant multiplier effects on social inclusion and economic development. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, what the state government of Sarawak has done. Well, the Sarawak government has long recognized the importance of sustainability in all our efforts, including tourism. I've mentioned to Peter as well as Huang in the holding room just now, we're quite lucky in Sarawak because our state premier, was holding the post of Minister of Tourism for about 8 years. He understands tourism. He's very passionate about tourism. And I'm also very lucky to inherit this ministry from him. When you have got the big boss up there, the CEO, having the same mindset into what all of us are embarking on, I think we are on the right track. The state government, as I mentioned, has long recognized the importance of sustainability in our effort, including tourism. This has become even more prevalent in our future plan as we recover from the pandemic and strive towards long-term economic growth. We actively encourage the public and visitors to be aware of their environmental impact and responsible tourism practices. Through collective engagement, we can contribute to the preservation of our natural resources and the well-being of local communities. In creating a resilient and thriving tourism industry, the Sarawak government has set in motion what we call the Post-COVID Development Strategy 2030, or PCDS 2030, and the Sarawak Tourism Master Plan 2035. Under PCDS 2030, ecotourism has been identified as the strategic focus under the tourism sector aspiration. The Sarawak government recognizes how ecotourism is a positive force for conservation and development that is economically and ecologically sustainable around the world. Among those KPIs relevant to ecotourism are to increase community-based tourism, which includes expanding the number of homestay cluster operators, as well as building eco-community hosts, among others. In terms of inspiring our local tourism stakeholders to adopt a sustainable mindset and practices and developing effective strategies and innovation that will benefit the ecosystem as a whole. We have conducted a design thinking for responsible tourism for the 12th divisional tourism task group. Sarawak has got 12 divisions. In West Malaysia, they call them states. Down here, because the state or the region of Sarawak is as big as the whole of West Malaysia, we divide ourselves into what we call division. So we have got 12 division, we have got 12 divisional tourism task group. This plan, together with the initiatives carried out by agencies under my ministry, among others, the Museum Department, Sarawak Art Council, Sarawak Craft Council, Sarawak Convention Bureau and Business Events, and, of course, Sarawak Tourism Board, will enable us to achieve our aspiration to be a leading player in responsible tourism and the top eco-tourism destination and business event in the ASEAN region, driven by empowered communities to conserve heritage, culture, and biodiversity, and to promote investment and development through responsible actions. Ladies and gentlemen, with an estimated 235 million tourists traveling internationally in 2022, as what is recorded by UNWTO, the industry accounts for 7.6% of the world GDP, which is stated by World Travel and Tourism Council. The global tourism sector has played an increasingly critical role in spurring growth, reducing poverty, creating jobs, and, of course, generating income. In Sarawak, the tourism industry is a crucial economic sector which generated ringgit Malaysia 11.57 billion in tourism receipts during the pre-pandemic period in 2019. Today, we see improving trends whereby during the first period of January to May 2023, we have recorded tourism receipts of ringgit Malaysia 4.11 billion as against 4.46 billion during the same period in 2019. So more or less, Sarawak, we have recovered when it comes to tourism. We are back to pre-COVID era, pre-COVID period. We are very, very happy about this. We are seeing the number of visitors coming in, including those from Pata. For 2023, we expect visitors' arrival to exceed our target of 3 million. We are quite conservative. At the early part of the year, we placed 3 million visitors coming into Sarawak for this year. But we know it's going to go way past 4 million from the number of visitors that we see coming in from January to May, which every month have surpassed the target that we have set for the year, actually. We are off to a good start, recording 1.6 million arrivals from January to May this year, a 90.10% recovery compared to pandemic numbers in 2019, and are very much in line with UNWTO's forecast. The ministry foresees continued recovery throughout 2023, driven by both domestic and international visitors. While international tourism steadily bounces back, domestic tourism will also contribute to drive the recovery of the region's tourism industry. Additionally, Sarawak's sustainable environment blueprint embraces both green and blue economies. This initiative is in response to the challenges posed by climate change and the need to develop a large landscape of sustainable opportunities and environmental protection, including renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, and ecotourism. Among our efforts to embrace sustainable tourism policies, to maximize the positive impacts of tourism and society, environment, and the economy, are our partnership with various international bodies, agencies, and institutions, which include PATA. In addition, we are furthering the ecotourism message with the Journal of Responsible Tourism, or JRTM, the first international journal published in Sarawak in collaboration with Sarawak Research Society. It is hoped that JRTM will be read not just by the tourism academics, those in the universities and students, as well as researchers, but also by practitioners of tourism, engaged in tourism sectors and the hospitality services and industry. Forestry Department Sarawak also played a part by initiating what they call Sarabom Project, reflecting our commitment to restore Sarawak's tropical rainforest to its original ecosystem and functionality. Sarawak designer Seed Bomb aimed at speeding up the goal to grow and expand Malaysia's 52% forest cover is part of our forest landscape restoration, or in short FLR initiative. Sarawak forest cover is 62% of 12.4 million hectares of Sarawak land mass, and this contributes to 42.2% of Malaysia's forest cover. We are targeting to grow, if I'm not mistaken, 35 million trees within the next few years to meet up to that target we are setting. Arising from the Sarawak government recent successful benchmarking visit led by Honorable Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Awang Tengah to various geosites and geotrails of Jeju UNESCO Global Geopark Korea from the 14th to the 20th of June 2023. I was in that group. Actually, we just got back 2 days ago actually, from Korea. My muscles are still aching. We went to Jeju. The whole island of Jeju is a UNESCO heritage geopark site, and they've got all those caves, volcanic crater, and you can only walk to those places. You don't have all those cable cars and all that, which might not be good also to the landscape. So you have to walk up the mountain, and that an old man like me feel the pain of it. Until today, it's still aching. We went to Jeju UNESCO Global Geopark, Korea from the 14th to the 20th of June 2023. There's a reason why we went down there, because Malaysia just recognized the Sarawak Delta Geopark as the 6th geopark in Malaysia. And we would want it to reach that level where it would be recognized by UNESCO. We've got several good sites down here, and we are learning from Jeju. We have been advised by UNESCO, look at Jeju, that is a model for us to emulate, actually. There are many lessons that we can learn, that we have learned in Korea, which Sarawak can adopt in terms of geotourism, products, development, as well as promotion. Sarawak Delta Geopark will contribute towards significant economic benefits to our local communities through creation of more businesses and job opportunities and vibrant tourism industry. We will develop some specific geo-trails and geo-sites, conducting some specific capacity building programs for the local communities, geo-guides, homestay operators, handicraft makers, as well as the tourism industry players. In fact, the world-renowned and iconic Rainforest World Music Festival, which coincidentally will be starting tomorrow, will begin tomorrow until the 25th of June, is a crucial platform also for us to promote responsible tourism. For the festival, we have banned single-use plastic, upcycle used materials, and explored innovative solutions to waste management in order to create awareness on responsible tourism, both by festival goers as well as by vendors. We've started this since last year when rainforests come back after COVID, and this year we are continuing it with all these initiatives. Shuttle bus have also been made available to ferry the festival goers to alleviate carbon emission and prevent congestion during the festival. Well, I hope all of you will join the festival. There are quite a number of bands which are quite known. They will be performing during the 3 nights, which will promise harmony, diversity, and culture, connected by music and dance, focusing on the holistic experience and emotion of the entire festival. Experience various emotion and their purest and most authentic form. Unforgettable, wild, tribal, cultural and authentic expression that are unique to Sarawak, worthy of reflection in the coming years. You can see them in the cultural dances now. Each one of the dances represent one of the communities. Sarawak has got about, on record in our constitution, we have got 34 ethnic groups. So when you have got so many ethnic groups, some are staying by the coastline, some are by the rivers in long houses, some are in the highlands. So each one of them have got their own way of life. Even the way they live, some live in long houses, some live on stilt, some live in the cities, some are still wandering out there, which we are trying to bring them and resettle them. No doubt, some environmentalists are not really happy when you bring them out. But then, I believe some of all these Penans or nomads, some of them are still leading nomadic life. They deserve to be given the kind of thing which all other citizens of Malaysia are given, good education and all that. That's why we're trying to get them out, resettle them, give them education and all that. Not to say that we are forcing them out. It's a long process. Yeah. I hope all of you, as I mentioned just now, will join the festival, experience the emotion in its purest and most authentic form. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, to continue to propagate responsible tourism and sustainability agenda, we need the cooperation and the commitment of all industry players who know the in and out of the region's tourism activities. All the delegates and the speakers today are the best people to engage in dialogues for the betterment of the industry. You are all the experts in this field. I'm confident that we will get to hear meaningful thoughts, insights, and perspective from the top minds revolving around the theme Sustainability in Action. This forum comprises a sea of thought leaders and experienced industry professionals. So let us capitalize on this opportunity to imprint strong footprint of sustainability and responsible tourism in this region and in fact the whole world over. I wish to express my sincere appreciation to all our speakers, to all delegates and guests for your presence as well as your support. Your commitment and participation in our sustainable and responsible tourism agenda is vital to safeguarding planetary health for our future generation. That's what Peter has mentioned also. We have got that responsibility not just for ourselves, but for our offspring, for our future generation. On this note, it is with great pleasure that I officially launch PATA Destination Experience Forum and Mart 2023. To all guests and participants, please enjoy your stay in Sarawak. Sarawak is quite a safe place, but then wherever you are, whether they can call it safe, but crimes do happen also. Just take care of yourself also. Try out our food, enjoy the tourism products that we have down here. Those who have not seen orangutan, go down to our Semango Orangutan Sanctuary. You can see them there. It's a beautiful sight. We are very, very proud of our orangutan. And because of the blessing of COVID. Sometimes I look at COVID also as a blessing. You know? When the orangutan, that place is out of bound for visitors for 2 years. The orangutan are able to consume it. And we have got a few more babies coming out after the COVID, which I believe the orangutan might not be able to engage in their own sexual activities, you know, if there have been too many visitors visiting those places, that place. Well, enjoy your stay, try our cuisine. You must not miss the Sarawak Laksa. Sarawak Laksa, I read in the media yesterday, the outgoing High Commissioner of United Kingdom to Malaysia, when he was asked what is one of his memorable food from Sarawak, he said, Sarawak Laksa. Wow, Sarawakians will definitely feel very proud of that. And the late Anthony Bourdain, the celebrity chef, was also saying the Sarawak Laksa is food, breakfast for the Lord. So when we have got that kind of remarks about our Sarawak Laksa, try the authentic one and probably you will be able to know why Sarawak Laksa is so popular in this region. Thank you and have an enjoyable stay.
Thank you very much, Minister. If you can please remain on stage, and I'd like to invite our chairman, Mr. Peter Simone, to provide a token of appreciation to the Minister. Please remain on stage. I would also now like to invite Yang Berhormat, Datuk Sebastian Ting Chu Yu, the Deputy Minister for Tourism, on stage, as well as Yang Berbahagia, Datu Sharini Binti Husani, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts of Sarawak, on stage as well as Puan Sharzadeh Datu Haji Saleh Asgor, the CEO of Sarawak Tourism Board, on stage for a group photo. Oh, Minister Peter, sorry. You guys are supposed to remain on stage for the group photo. And as well as Mr. Harry Wang, the Director, Regional Department for Asia and the Pacific at UNWTO. And last and certainly not least, Mr. Toyib Mohammed, the CEO of Visit Maldives, on stage for a group photo.